This is the Southside School of Financial Freedom Small Account Update and Market Report for the week ending January 13th, 2023. The market finished higher last week. The Dow Jones Industrial Average decreased minus 0.31% on Friday, but was up 0.34% for the week. The S&P 500 increased 0.08% on Friday and was up 1.84% for the week. The Nasdaq increased 0.02% on Friday and was up 3.09% for the week. Looking at the week, we can see that there were 11 up finishes versus 4 down finishes for the major indexes. On Monday and Wednesday, all the major indexes finished up. On Tuesday, the Dow Jones Industrial Average and the S&P 500 finished down, while the Nasdaq finished up. On Thursday, the Dow Jones Industrial Average and the Nasdaq finished up, while it was the S&P 500 that finished down. And on Friday, the Dow Jones Industrial Average finished down, while the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq finished up. How did you do? My small account finished lower, much lower. However, it still generated cash flow. Even when the market falls and or my account doesn't do well, like the past 2 weeks, I still get income or cash flow by selling covered calls and naked puts. This method does not only guarantee cash flow or income, it can also beat the S&P 500. I don't use charts, I don't use fundamental analysis, I don't use indicators or signals, and I definitely don't sit in front of a computer screen all day to watch the market. I simply choose a stock from my watch list to sell covered calls and or naked puts. I do have 5 criteria for choosing stocks to put on my trading watch list. I will not reveal what my criteria are, but if you examine my list, you may be able to figure out the criteria for yourself. The last row, however, is my benchmark row. That is, I measure my performance against gold, silver, and the S&P 500. I choose the stock option based on whether I own the stock or I would like to own the stock. I choose a strike price, an expiration date, a bid, and I submit a limit order. Then I wait for execution. If the sale does not execute, I may change my order or wait until the next day to submit a new order. Looking at my watch list from last week, we can see that the strongest performer on the list was United States Natural Gas, ticker symbol UNG in the first column. It increased 8.43% on Friday and was up 16.78% for the week. UNG is a natural gas fund that primarily invests in natural gas future contracts that are traded on various commodity exchanges throughout the world to track the price of natural gas. The fund allows investors to participate in price movements of natural gas without actually buying or selling natural gas and or natural gas contracts directly. Natural gas and oil prices may be rising because of all the turmoil in the Middle East, particularly in the Red Sea region. Looking at a summary of results, you can see that UNG has increased 34.52% year to date. I did not generate cash flow from UNG this week, but I did generate cash flow from selling 5 option contracts on other stocks, 4 calls and 1 put that ranged from $1.34 to $20.34. So on Monday, I sold 2 calls, one for $15.34 and one for $20.34. On Thursday, I sold a put for $5.34. And on Friday, I sold a call for $7.34 and a put for $1.34. This is a total of $49.70. And that is not a lot of money, but the account is small, and $49.70 in cash flow was 1.08% of my account value. This money is free and clear. You can take it out of your account and spend it or leave it in to build your cash balance or invest it. If you want to increase the amount of cash flow, just use a larger account. For example, to 10x the cash flow to $497, use a larger account amount, and instead of selling one of everything I sold, sell 10. This strategy is guaranteed to produce cash flow immediately and every week that it is applied. However, it does not guarantee the amount of cash flow from week to week, nor the value of your account. The amount varies and the account value varies. Despite the variations in amount and value, the goal is to generate cash flow and beat the S&P 500. And that is what I am openly showing you every week as it happens. Note, most professional money managers and their strategies do not consistently beat the S&P 500. They lose, and they usually lose by a lot. Last year, this method beat the S&P 500 by about 12%. But so far in 2024, my account is down minus 13.16% versus 0.29% up for SPY, which is S&P 500 ETF. That's a difference of 13.45%. So I am losing to the S&P 500 by about 13.5%. So after the first 2 weeks of the new year, the S&P 500 is beating me and beating me by a lot. But the year is still young. Will I befall the fate of most? Because it is not unusual to beat the S&P 500 one year and then lose to the S&P 500 the next year. Tune in next week to find out if I can catch up a bit. Bitcoin watch. Bitcoin lost minus 3.21% this past week and appears to be in a bull market. Though it is down more than minus 38% from its all-time high, which was achieved back in November 2021, it is up about 1% year to date. Some believe that Bitcoin is really the only long-term investment you need. What do you say? What is your strategy? Do you know how to produce cash flow every week and beat the S&P 500? Or will you simply invest in Bitcoin? As you develop, analyze, and implement your strategy, please check back to see how my small account performs against the S&P 500 from week to week by liking, sharing, and subscribing. Thanks.